right outside, so come on in, don't be shy. We've got ghosts and UFOs. Brace yourself, get ready for the show. Don't be afraid of the dark, the fun's about to start. Nightmares or tales will inspire. Oh, tonight at the Scaredy Campfire. Have you heard tell of a demon next door? Or maybe a cryptid on the lake shore? There's nothing too strange for us here. So if you're ready, stamp out your fear. Don't be afraid of the dark, the fun's about to start. Nightmares or tales will inspire. Tonight at the Scaredy Campfire. Whoa, whoa.
Welcome back, campers, to episode 39 of the Scaredy Campfires. The embers are dim tonight, and the woods beyond the fire seem closer than usual. Tonight's tales will take us there, to the edge where reality frays, where logic bends and the familiar begins to whisper back. So pull your blankets close, campers. The dark has been waiting for this one. Tonight's story comes from Reddit user u/Feature Blazer, who lived through a terrifying ordeal in Fairmont, California that shifted them from skeptic to believer. After accompanying a friend through a series of black magic rituals with a local astrologer, they witnessed chilling signs of dark forces, shadowy presences, unexplained phenomena, and even a harrowing exorcism that pushed them to their limits. I was not too much into Reddit and was still recovering from what happened to me. Hence, I'm writing this 3 years after this happened. It's a long one, but very interesting. Bear with me. I had an experience in 2022 which turned me from a skeptic to believer. I was living in Fairmont, California. I was living as a paying guest with an Indian Punjabi family of 5, a couple with 3 toddler kids. The couple don't get along, and the wife, Rinku, is highly frustrated and upset with her life. She asked me to accompany her to an astrologer, fortune teller. We found an Indian astrologer in Fremont, California, and made a visit to him. As we entered his house, a tiny apartment, the astrologer's wife took us to his room. His room was dark and full of pictures of different deities. Also had a white stick human figure with red tongue constructed out of white cement or something on floor. The astrologer looked like a mix of priest and tantric. He wore black kurta. As per his numerology and some other methods, he told Rinku that someone did black magic on her and her family long back. Rinku believed whatever the astrologer said, as when she was a child, her family came across some black magic related stuff in their farms in Punjab: hair, lemon, red fabric, etc. Their lives have been devastated since then. Nobody in her family was happy. Rinku's father died. 4-year-old Rinku was taken away forcefully from her mother and was made to live with an aunt all her life who never loved her. Rinku and her real sister both have horrible, cheap husbands. Rinku was never allowed to talk to her real mum, who herself was living an awful life in some village of Punjab. So Rinku believes the astrologer. I was still skeptic, but he made the right assessments about me, so I didn't know what to believe. The astrologist said he can't explain much about what's wrong with her. All he said it's some black magic and said he would do an extensive puja, some rituals, etc., and make it all go away. He quoted 2,000 for the whole thing. Rinku, coming from low-income house, still managed to arrange the amount. Now things get interesting from here. As a part of the thing, she had to visit the astrologer a few times. She took me every time she went. I consciously didn't drink water or eat any offerings the astrologer made to us. So didn't Rinku. The third time we went to his place, he said something about finding something evil in his prayers for Rinku. He also said that as a part of the ritual that night, Rinku had to visit a graveyard to drop some stuff, which astrologer gave us. It had to be done by Rinku. He strongly advised me to accompany her to the graveyard. That day he said few more things which made Rinku emotional, and she shed some tears. Astrologer asked his wife to bring some sweets and water, sash tea, for us. We refused. He insisted and gave us some sweets and warm water to drink. We ended up drinking the water but got the sweet back home and discarded it in trash. That night both of us drove to the graveyard at 10ish, and she dropped that stuff in the graveyard. Additionally, the astrologer also gave us a copper pot, galash, if anyone wants to Google, which he asked Rinku to keep in the room she slept in. After coming back from the graveyard, both of us showered and had dinner, etc. Astrologer instructed us not to consume any alcohol that night. Now at around 11:30ish, both of us were sitting in the living room. Rinku video called a close friend and shared that we had gone to the graveyard. The friend suddenly tells Rinku that you look really different today. Your eyes look scary. Rinku took it as a joke and looks at me asking if something is wrong with her eyes. I looked into her eyes. I suddenly got very scared. They did feel different and scary. Something was definitely wrong with her eyes. She went to bed shortly after this, around 12. Looking into her eyes gave me chills. It was hard for me to talk to her while looking at her. Writing this and thinking of those eyes gave me chills. Those eyes looked in trance and felt like they wanted something from me. Those eyes looked greedy and in trance. I am a night owl. I generally don't sleep at night. That night I was cooking in the kitchen downstairs at 1:30 a.m. To give you an idea about the house, it's a 2 BHK. The hall and kitchen are modular and on ground floor, and 2 bedrooms on first floor. I sleep in one, whole family sleeps in other bedroom. So I'm on ground floor that night, cooking in the kitchen, which is next to the stairs to the first floor. So stairs are adjacent to where I'm standing. I suddenly feel someone came down through the stairs and is standing outside the kitchen looking at me. I feel something black in my peripherals. I have a strong negative feeling and I feel someone is standing next to me, facing me. I look to that side and what I see is black smoke vanishing in the air and settling into the atmosphere of the room. All of this happened in 3 seconds. That kind of dark was a different dark. Different than the dark of a tube light gone old. I feel shit scared, but I don't know what happened to me. I pretended as if nothing happened. I don't know how, but I acted strong and sort of created an aura of strength around me. I sort of gave a strong message to that thing. If there was anything in that room, that I am strong and not scared. I pretended to stay normal and didn't react. Just created a powerful aura around me psychologically. It doesn't end here. Some few minutes later, I had to bend down to get something out from the bottom shelf of the kitchen. I sat down in a squatting position, and to my horror, my pajama tore from both my knees. I have no explanation to this. My pajamas were well fitting, maybe a tad bit tight, but not as tight that they would tear from the knee. That too from both the knees at the same time. I was so scared at this point, but I continued to act normal. I even sat at the couch in that same very room after some time, using my phone to watch a video and my video getting paused on its own repeatedly. I play, it pauses. I play, it pauses, even after it had buffered. At this point, I'm clueless. I feel something spooky, but my rational brain is telling me it's all in my head. At around 3 a.m., I called a friend in India as I knew I will not be able to sleep until sunrise. My friend kept my head diverted until 4:30 a.m. After some more time, I saw sunrise and felt relieved and went to bed. I didn't share this with anyone except the friend I was talking to. The next day, as I get up, I felt very low and negative and have the strong urge to leave the house. I called up my husband and moved in with him that very evening. Background story: at this point, I'm a month old married. My husband lived in a different city in California. We had gotten married in urgent circumstances and were in the process of looking for houses for us. Meanwhile, I continued to stay with the Punjabi family as paying guest until the night I experienced all this. We had also gone to Gurdwara that day, as the astrologer instructed us to visit temple this day. During the day before moving out, I felt very negative throughout the day and wanted to move out ASAP. Also had exaggerated thoughts of me cutting my wrist off. I generally get these thoughts. On that day, I was feeling those thoughts. I felt the pain as I'm cutting wrist nerve. 2 days later, I'm at my husband's. Rinku called me and pleaded me to accompany her to the astrologer's one last time. I made an excuse and didn't go. She also didn't go. Then she called me the next day and pleaded again. She shared that two of her kids felt something in the house. Her eldest kid, 7-year-old, who was getting ready for school that morning, was combing his hair, looking in the mirror that morning, and suddenly sees a human-like silhouette, which is standing behind him in the mirror. He turns his head around and sees that thing running inside the washroom and disappear. The washroom was situated right behind the kid. He shared this with Rinku, who had no idea of the background story. This incident happened 3 days after we had visited the graveyard. Rinku has 4-year-old twins, who generally play in the living room by their own every morning. Rinku sleeps till afternoon as she works late night shifts at Amazon warehouse. The two twins play alone every morning in the living room. For a few days they stopped playing alone. One of the twin kids said she won't play without mum downstairs as there is something in the room. Rinku shares all this with and pleads me to come to the astrologer with her. I said no. Now my husband was kind and a believer, said I must go and end all of this. If it's that last visit, just go, end it. So I decided to say yes for the next day. I got a weird dream that night that I met with accident driving to Rinku's place. So Rinku and I plan to visit astrologer the next day. Rinku called me at 11 a.m. and asks me to be at astrologer's at 1. She also shares that Karan fell in the washroom bathtub that morning and cried a lot before going to school. He didn't want to go to the school at all, quite opposite of his behavior. Also, he had never fallen down in the bathtub like this. Rinku sends him to school anyways. If he wouldn't go, Rinku wouldn't be able to step out to go to the astrologer for the final ritual. I reach at the astrologer at 2. I was running late. As I reach there, Rinku shares what has been happening to kids with the astrologer, feeling presents and stuff. Rinku also believes that her son fell in the bathroom because of some presents. Astrologer agreed. Astrologer now said, there has been some kind of evil spirit feeding on Rinku. He didn't tell us until now, as he didn't want that entity to know that Rinku knows about the presents and that she's trying to get rid of it. At this point, I'm taking my experience from that night seriously. I shared what happened with me that night in the kitchen, etc. The astrologer was not surprised and said it tried to scare me because I was assisting Rinku with her visits to the astrologer, and that's why I moved out of her house next day. Astrologer said his son fell because that spirit knows we are trying to get rid of it, so it's trying to stop this from happening. Having all these conversations, we realized it's 2:30 p.m. It's time to pick Rinku's son from school. He gets off at 2:35. Rinku pleaded me to go pick him up from school and bring him to the astrologer's. We decided to do the ritual after bringing Karan from school to the astrologer's house. I Ubered to the school and reached at 2:42, 7 minutes late. I don't see the child anywhere. He is nowhere to be found at the school. I kept looking everywhere. Asked the teachers, they were also looking everywhere. Rinku called me to ask if Karan was picked up. I said I can't find him anywhere. She panicked like anything and decided to come to school and postpone the ritual. The astrologer booked an Uber for Rinku to school. A few minutes later, I see a teacher of Karan bringing Karan to me. She was Karan's preschool teacher and spotted Karan on the main road, crossing the road on his own, trying to go back home on his own. This has never happened. Karan has never done anything like that, and I was only late by 7 minutes. Anyway, I took Karan to the astrologer's with me. Karan waited in the living room while we sat in the ritual inside the astrologer's room. He asked us to bring neem petals, water from Rinku's house, and one more thing I don't remember. I guess rose petals? They did some puja. My role was to watch Rinku and support her. In the last step of the ritual, he made Rinku eat the neem she got and keep the water she got in her mouth, and then she had to pray to Kali to relieve her of the evil 9 times. After praying, she had to spit the water to the glass jar in front of her. As she spat, water didn't come out of her mouth. Fire and sparks with a screaming dark black shadow came out of her mouth, which the astrologer trapped in the glass jar. He struggled to do so as the shadow was trying to come out of the jar. I was shocked in watching the astrologer struggle. The astrologer shouted at me and Rinku and asked us to go home immediately. We left the house, but I suddenly realized that I left my jacket in the same room where exorcism happened. I went back to the room to pick up the jacket. I see the astrologer trying something on that jar and sealing it. As I leave, I took a glance at the jar. I saw a black, human-like, thick stick figure floating in the jar. Contained some white-grey smoke and that black figure. The astrologer again shouted and asked me to leave. My life changed after this experience, and this is an advice, perhaps warning. If you see any such visiting cards from astrologers, fortune tellers, which advises and advertises anything related to black magic removal, stay away from them. What started as a desperate attempt to break free from dark magic turned into a haunting battle with evil forces that left an unforgettable mark. Sometimes the shadows we fear aren't just in our minds. They're real and far more dangerous than we ever imagined. Tonight's second story is from Murder Drone 888, who's been seeing ghosts since the age of 5. Not just shadows or tricks, full-on cookie-bringing, bed-visiting spirits. Since I was 5, I've been able to see ghosts. Photos, they're there. Streets, hundreds. Graves, parties of them. When people ask, they most likely don't believe me or just say something like, sure, whatever you say. But they're real. It's no schizophrenia, like some people think, because one time, my dead grandpa brought me cookies in bed. I ate them. The crumbs were still there in the morning. I can sometimes physically interact with them, sometimes not. I see them, and nobody has believed me all my life. Obviously, I'm alone with everyone else I know. But has anyone else seen ghosts? Living with a world unseen by most is a lonely existence. For you/Murder Drone 888, ghosts aren't just stories. They are a constant, undeniable presence. If you've ever wondered whether the spirits walk among us, this is a story that might just make you believe. That closes out episode 39, campers. The fire burns low and the night presses in. Maybe the stories end here, or maybe they've only begun to tell themselves. Whatever you do, don't wander too far from the light, because once you step past its edge, the dark decides what finds you next. Until then, good night, campers, and keep your fire burning.
As the night gets longer and the darkness creeps The eerie silence broken only by whispering wind. Come gather round the fire, the flickering flames, and hear the tales of the spooky and the strange. Chill up your back, a shiver up your spine. You'll be haunted by the things that you find. Legends will unfold and stories will be told at a scary campfire. For only